Okay, welcome back. We are ACI Course 11, Class 9. It is February 8th, 2026. Remember that our review class, you guys teach me, right? And so Thursday's class is when I'll assign the questions to anybody who wants to play. So I'm talking to the people who are listening to the recording and not coming usually to class. If you want to be part of teaching the review class, which is a great opportunity to plant seeds for hearing yourself share the holy Dharma with other people, please show up on Thursday. I don't care what time it is for you. Get get your question and then show up again on Sunday. And no worries if you don't show up, you just won't get a question. Okay, so if you don't want to play, don't show up. Or show up and say no thanks. But you know how fun it is, right? Everybody does a great job. Okay. So let's gather our minds here as we usually do, please. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there with you, gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, we turn our minds back to our precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the pure world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. The Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest. May all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. Well, try my other secret weapon. Who's ever helped somebody stop coughing? I have many times. All right, let's try again. So last class. Master Shanti Deva was showing us that by way of the subject matter in his chapter on meditation, he's showing us that learning the skills of meditation is secondary to the object that we put our mind on for our meditation. So he doesn't even teach us about the 7-point posture and the 9 levels. He teaches us about what to put our mind on, right? Achieve that isolation and then put our mind on learning to treat others the same as we treat ourselves. It's just turning out to be a long story. And then Gyaltsab J gave us those two logical statements to help us dig into our resistance to what Master Shantideva is explaining to us. Consider the pain of other living beings. It is right that I must stop it because it is pain. It is like, for example, the pain that I feel myself. Consider the things that bring happiness to others. It is right that I should work to bring them about because each of those beings is a living being. It's like, for example, the way I work to bring happiness to my own body. So we were learning Dakshin Nyamba, learning to treat others with the same concern as we treat ourselves. It does not mean learning to feel another's pain in the same way that they feel it. We can't actually do that. It's deciding to feel about their pain the same way that we feel about ours, which is yuck, right? Regret. Actually, it's reject. And then from an educated Buddhist, it's regret for what I did to have created it. And then it's resolve how I'm gonna act instead of react, and then prevent how I'm gonna act in other places, other time frames, in order to prevent repeating having that result come. So we're getting pretty good at regret, resolve, prevent for our own situations, I hope. And now Mr. Shantideva has just said, look, you're aware of somebody else's discomfort. Have the same domino. Oh, regret, resolve, prevent. So as our ability to do that grows, we learn how to use our efforts towards another's pain or discomfort as rapidly, as intensively as necessary as we do when we have our own discomfort. And then the argument was, yeah, but I don't feel their pain. Their pain's their karma, it's not mine. And he was explaining that in fact doesn't matter. Hey, it is true. It's whatever they are experiencing, it's their seeds ripening. Whatever we are experiencing, them experiencing, is our seeds ripening. So he says, with practice, we can decide that somebody else's pain or distress is no longer something we will tolerate. It has been tolerable to us, depending on who the other is and how bad it is. But we can decide it's no longer tolerable. And when we do, we won't have to force ourselves to act. in the same way that we don't force ourselves to act to avoid or protect ourselves from some discomfort of our own. Mm. We all have discomfort, distress, unpleasantnesses happen probably fairly frequently. And as functioning human adults, we've learned how to ignore a lot of them because we've seen they aren't really harmful. They're not going to go on to cause danger, so we can just ignore them, right? I have lots of pains in my body that I've learned to just, no worries, no worries. But, a migraine, that, no ignoring that. So I've already changed my tolerance level, what I consider unacceptable in terms of distress regarding my own self. He's saying, look, you can do the same. That was just arbitrary. It's just arbitrary whether we decide somebody else's back pain is as unacceptable to me as my back pain, or somebody else's migraine is as unacceptable to me as mine. And like I don't know, our heart goes, yeah, that'd be nice. But we still say, yeah, but I don't, I don't see how that's possible because I don't feel their pain. I don't really know. Maybe there's somebody who has a migraine and they like it. And it's like, yeah, that's possible. But when you get them, right, can you even conceive of liking it? No. Okay, same. So our object of meditation, while we are meditating, we are still planting seeds. And so the object of our meditation is a is a is a is a powerful piece of what our meditation can do for us. And of course, in our tradition, the reason we're meditating at all is to grow our ability to realize, to make real for us uh, karma, dependent origination, and then the fact that nothing exists in any other way than that, the direct perception of emptiness. And then somewhere within there, that heart opening practice that sees the face of every being and feels that love that is the ramification of the direct perception of emptiness experienced with that bodhicitta in our heart. We can be really, really good meditators concentrating on our breath. And it's not likely that all of a sudden that's going to trigger us seeing emptiness directly. Anything's possible, of course, but not likely, partly because our breath is not a virtuous object, so we're not creating goodness as we are trying to hold our mind on it. The way a mental image of our holy angel being is, and Master Shantideva is saying to hold our mind on this object of analysis and then conclusion of exchanging self and others. You now have a meditation that you've got your mind parked on, that you are planting seeds that are the seeds that brings about the very happiness that we all say we want. Just worldly happiness, let alone the happiness of coming to perceive ourselves as a being who does satisfy the needs of self and others. That's Buddhahood. So Master Shantideva's premise is all the different things we can meditate on. They are all useful, but you want one that will cut to the quick? Here, this one. But then it's not just a meditation, right? It's not just an on the cushion practice, and then we get up and go back out into daily life and act just as self-involved as we ever did. That doesn't work. But as our meditation experience of the exchanging self and others gets more and more familiar, we'll find ourselves able to actually do it in little ways more than we could before because of the goodness of the time spent in our meditation, right? It will accumulate. It gets us on this upward spiral. So I'm going to go through a few of his next arguments, and then I'll show you the verses. So Master Shantideva is still addressing the Mr. Kachik, who says, yeah, but still, if I don't feel their pain, how can I possibly treat their pain the same as my own? Surely I have to know what it feels like in order to act appropriately to take it away. You know, his premise is no, you don't have to feel it, you just have to be aware of it. So he replies in what's called a classic Talmgyur or a prasangika. I'll show you those words in a minute too. Talmgyur is the Tibetan for prasangika. They both mean this sarcastic response that because it's so precise in its sarcasm that if the opponent just thinks it through themselves, they will come to their own conclusion that would have taken like multiple renditions to get them to if they just think it through. That's what the prasangikas apparently specialize in, showing us the absurdity of our own idea. And then if we're just willing to look at that, it'll crack through our own idea. So he says, I say, I'm going to be Kachik. He says, I say, look, I can't work to stop somebody else's pain because I don't feel the pain. I'm still holding to that. And he goes, well, okay, then why do you protect yourself from future pain? Since that doesn't hurt you either. And it's like, what? So suppose I know that when I go to work tomorrow, I know the boss is going to be mad at me for something and they're going to yell at me and I don't like it. I want to avoid it. Maybe I know it's about some big project that I don't know, like I'm really, really adverse to it. And so on Monday morning, I wake up and I have kind of a headache and I go, oh no, migraine coming on. I can't go to work today because I'm trying to avoid that discomfort of the boss blaming me for something. No, and it's like, okay, I'll just avoid it. Master Shantideva says, why would you ever do that? If you haven't, the pain you're trying to end hasn't even happened yet. You're not even there yet. You're acting to stop a pain that you can't feel. So come on, that was your argument for why you can't act to help the other person's pain is because you don't feel it. But all the time you do stuff to avoid a pain that you're going to have in the future that you haven't felt yet. Let's be consistent here. He just keeps driving this home. He then goes on to point out, he says, and furthermore, we put away money as we're young in order to have a retirement account so that when we're older, we'll be able to, right, take care of ourselves. And it's like, man, if you don't do that, you're crazy. And if you do that, it's like it's some kind of promise that you'll get your needs met when you're old. And Master Shantideva, you can imagine what he says to that. He says, come on, you're going to ignore the person on the street corner who needs a meal for the benefit of a you that's 50 years away, that you don't, that, right? You don't know what that's going to feel like. You don't know. That person isn't even existing, let alone having the pain of maybe not getting their needs met. And yet you say, it's more important for me to put money in my 401k than it is to give the guy on the street corner $5. We don't really say it like that, but he's pointing out that we are thinking like that in some way. When we think, my future me hasn't even happened, and I'm not even sure it's ever gonna, is more important than the pain I see right now in somebody. Doesn't matter whether it's a beggar or my neighbor or somebody I like or somebody I don't like, their pain is now. Your old person needing a roof over their heads is a long time away. Why are they more important to you than this person right now? Do you see it? Can you feel it? And then I feel it in my heart going, no, but that's going to be me. You know, if I don't take care of me, who's gonna? And of course, the argument is, well, yeah, you can put money away, but there's no guarantee that you're going to have that money by the time you get there. There's no guarantee there's going to be a you for that money when the money gets there. And there's no guarantee that you'll be able to access it, right? There's all kinds of things that could happen and that we see happen in people that we know, where we can't say that future me is more important. Then he goes even further and he says, and you know, we are willing to do all kinds of unkind things towards others on behalf of this body, on the behalf of this me, in order to prevent these unpleasantnesses or to get them to stop or to get the happiness that I'm trying to get. We're willing to hurt people in different ways. He says, but the things that we do, trying to get what we want or avoid what we don't want, those aren't gonna ripen for probably a really long time. In fact, they're probably not gonna ripen even in this lifetime. So they're gonna ripen the results on a future you that hasn't even been born yet. You don't even know where that future you is gonna show up. That future me is non-existent. And yet I'm willing to do non-virtues to help the one that I think is existent. And I won't even get the results of what I just did. What I get is the karma that goes with me, I want to say, but adds to the me that is the one that gets reborn later. Meanwhile, here's somebody right here, living being right now, who's having some distress, or could be a place where I could plant a little happiness. And wouldn't it feel good to do something for somebody where it looks like the result we got right away was, wow, they were happier. Their getting happier didn't come from what we did just right then. It came from some way in which we tried to help somebody be happy before that. But it's pleasure to see somebody be a little bit happy, whether what we did just now helped them or not. And that's ripening and planting seeds that helps us try to do a little bit more. So he's pointing out my argument. I can't take care of them the way I take care of me because I don't feel their pain. He says, look, if you're going to hold to that argument, then hold to it consistently. And don't do anything non-virtuous to avoid some pain that hasn't come to you yet. And don't do anything on behalf of your future you, whether it's future of this life or future. And it's like, no. Like, that's my whole practice, is to work now for the future me. And he goes, okay, then that whole practice to work for the benefit of future me, focused on the beings who are in pain and wanting happiness now, is how we work for the benefit of that future me. Helping others, right? Doing this in Dakshin Yampa, me, others exactly the same, is how we work for the benefit of my future me. We have it backwards. No, I work for future me. And then when future me is enlightened, that's when I work for everybody else. And it's like, yeah, try that out for size, see how it works for you. Guess what we will perpetuate? Samsara. Because we're working for the future of something, somebody that doesn't even exist. And even that one's hard to hear. Wait, my future me doesn't exist? No, it doesn't, does it? But wait, no, there's always going to be a future me, but not a future Sarani. The mind stream does go on, yes. But if we're thinking, oh, that 3 lifetimes from now, me is just me 3 lifetimes from now, we're misunderstanding. Okay. Let's see how I did. Yeah, let's go to the verse. What am I missing? Dialysis Claire. Okay. Suppose you say that the reason why you don't protect them is that their pain doesn't hurt you. Why then do you protect yourself from future pain, since it doesn't hurt you either? Right? We just talked about that. Your idea that you do so because you think to yourself that you will have to experience it is all wrong. Because the person who has already died is one person, and the one who's taken birth is another altogether. So even when we say, I have to do this for me, my future me, it's like that future you is going to be so different from this me that it's more different than me, than the person who's in need right now, is his point. And suppose that any particular pain were only something a particular one had to care about, If this were the case, then a pain in the foot would be nothing for the hand. Why then does it care? So he's going on to this further, pointing out this further inconsistency with my argument that I am not responsible for their relieving their pain because I can't feel it. He says, look, if you're walking along and your foot gets a sliver in it, immediately, right, you bend over, your hand grabs the sliver and yanks it out. And he said, why would the hand that doesn't feel that sliver reach down there and pull the sliver out? If, according to my argument, the one who doesn't feel the pain is not responsible, can't do anything, can't really help, so why should I try? If we were being consistent, then we would not send our hand down to help our foot. And it seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Geshe says when these arguments that seem ridiculous, he says we are missing something. And that those are the ones to dig into deeper, more deeply. Because it's showing us something about our perception, about the seriousness or the opportunity of another being's distress. We're disregarding the seriousness of that. Even if it's a minor distress, it's an opportunity for us to plant seeds in this hugely different way. That when we disregard it, we're disregarding more than just their pain. We're disregarding our whole claim, I want to reach Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings, while we're holding to this conception that their distress is their karma. And I can't do anything about it. Or it's not as important as mine. It is true, it's their karma, what they're experiencing. Do I know what they're experiencing? No. All I know is what I perceive them experiencing. And that is my ripening, which means it's an opportunity to plant another new seeds where before I let it go on, now I'm going to try to do something. Now, what we do is another long story. Sometimes all we can do is Tonglen, which isn't a small thing. Suppose you say that, although that's wrong, you engage in this case due to the fact that you hold on to a self. So he's pointing out here, just starting to subtly go in the direction of wisdom, that the reason I keep saying I can't take care of their pain equal to taking care of my pain because I don't feel their pain. He's pointing out that the reason I even have that conception is because I'm holding on to a me existing separately from my karmic seeds ripening, and the them and their distress existing separate from my karmic seeds ripening, right? What we mean by self-existent at the highest school. If I'm holding to a me as self-existent and a them as self-existent, then that's where this inconsistent belief, their pain's their pain, my pain's my pain, I work for my pain and my happiness more important than theirs. Not saying that we ignore others' distress and don't care about their happiness at all. Of course we do. But there's always this priority for a self-existent me that mine comes first. Okay, let's see. This self and other, though, are very wrong and nothing but something we should regret with all the strength that we have. Are there others? Absolutely. There will always be others because you can't have a self without another. There'd be nothing to, right? Delineate, determine. But can we experience an other that's outside of our experience? No. And what does it mean to experience something? It means projections ripening. Me, other, interaction between. Can we experience anything that's not our karmic seed ripening? No. Do we think we can? Probably. This is what he's saying. As our wisdom grows, it's not that self and other merge into one. It's that we understand the self and other happening. And we understand how the thing we call self is where the imprints are happening. And so that's where we make our effort, is in our perception of what myself does towards other. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Let me switch my screen share to the vocabulary. I'm going to go a little bit backwards here. Daksha Nyamba, that's self, other, exactly the same. The Talmgyur Prasangika is that sarcastic conclusion through which we're supposed to be able to go, oh. And then this is where we're going next. These words, sokpa, which means a collection of parts. Dzumpa, or dzun, which means not real or fake or artificial, not meaning like a cardboard cutout, not real, but not the way we think not real. Dzumpa. Mak is the word for an army. You'll see why in a minute. And gyu is the word for a stream, something streaming along. And so just make a mental note. Sokpa dzumpa. Mak and gyu. I'm so sorry to torture you with this cough. So in that verse where he's saying, look, it's because of self-existent me and self-existent you that I keep making this mistake that makes me say, Your pain's not as important to me as my pain. Your happiness isn't as important to me as my happiness because we believe self-existent me, self-existent other. And then he goes into this discussion about collections of parts and armies. And it's like, what? So when we say tsokpa, a collection of parts, what they're talking about here is that when we're talking about our own body, this thing we call my body is a thing that is made up of all these parts, right? And we can keep adding what parts we include in this collection of parts for us to come up with the term my body. And we think that my body is this thing made up of its collection of parts. And we go, yeah, like everybody understands that. And he says, well, look, my body is Zumpa. My body is unreal. It's artificial. Geshe uses the word fake. It makes me a little squirmy because it doesn't feel quite right. But it means I'm thinking that there is a body with all of its parts, when in fact, there's parts, and then there's the concept, my body, made of all those parts. Do you feel the difference? The idea, my body, is just an idea. All these different parts make it up, but it doesn't become a thing unto itself because all these parts come together, does it? It's my concept. Those are all my parts. That makes my concept my body. And I think that my body is then a real thing that has those parts. And that's what's Zunpa, Zun. The my body isn't a physical thing. It's not? Yes, it is. No, this is just a part. This is just a part. This is just a part. My whole body, there, the one I think that is there that needs so much care and protection and, babying, it's just an idea. Does my hand need care? Yes. As a hand? Technically, no. As an idea hand that's got these things. And at each level that I look at it, we're going to find the same thing. The whole is an idea. The things that make up the whole, they're there to bring on my idea until I go looking for them. Right? When I go looking for my pinky finger, I just find parts. Right? We've done this before. We did it with the pen. Where's my friend the pen? Right? We get parts, we get information, we put on the pen, we think this is a pen. But the pen is just an idea, right? And so what's functioning? The idea or the parts? And it's like, ooh, right? Let's not go there right now. So it's my body and its pain and distress or its pleasure that I believe is so important that I am willing to do what I need to do to avoid what it doesn't want and to get what it wants. And it feels like because it's this thing that I have immediately now, that it's more important than your discomfort or happiness because I can feel mine. I can't feel yours, right? My ignorance is still clinging to that. But he's pointing out that this thing I'm willing to do, let's call it non-virtue on behalf of its happiness, is a thing that is fake. It's artificial. It's an idea. And yet, the mental imprints that we made on behalf of this idea, they are imprinted in that mind. That keeps me thinking that idea is its own thing, solid thing, that needs to get what it wants and avoid what it doesn't want at the expense of others. And so I keep perpetuating making the wrong decisions that I think are the right decisions, but they end up bringing me more suffering instead of the happiness that I want, directed at those other beings that I also am mistaking for, it's going to get slippery, real things, when what I'm interacting with are these ideas of wholes laid onto parts. Does that make them unreal? No. It makes the one independent of my mind doing that not there, impossible. The one that is there is the one my mind is forcing me to see there and in pain, or there and happy. If they're happy, I don't want to interfere. I want to perpetuate if I can. If they're unhappy, I want to do something that to try to help give them some relief. Will what I do in the moment bring them some relief? I hope so, but maybe not, right? Does that mean we shouldn't try? No, that's why we try. Because we see ourselves try, we'll grow the habit of trying. Our trying will plant the seeds to actually start see some success if also we, in our response to others who are trying to help us, will actually let them help. Right? See some way in which what they did help us and demonstrate that to them helps us see our seeds do something. It doesn't make the seeds do something in the moment. It improves the way we see the other's response to what we do. I'm also kind of getting subtle. So this comes up in the context of the hand going to the foot to take out the sliver. And Master Shantideva was saying, if you're being consistent in saying that there's no reason why I should work to take the sliver out of somebody else's foot because I don't feel the sliver in their foot, he says, well, then there's no reason your hand should take the sliver out of your foot either. And we say, why do you say that? And he says, because your body is nothing but a collection of parts. And it's like, what does that have to do with the sliver in my foot? Because the sliver's in the foot, not the hand. And if the hand is just one part and the foot is a different part, then how can the hand even be aware? And we say, well, it's not, I'm aware. And I tell the hand, go take the sliver out of the foot. And he goes, exactly. You're aware. You're the one that says, pain in foot is unacceptable. Hand, do something about it. You're the one. It's not the hand, it's not the foot. In the same way, when you are aware of somebody else's distress, you're the one that decides, hand, go help them. Hand doesn't have to feel their pain. I just have to be aware of it. Right? He's like catching us in our own argument. He's pointing out how we're so mistaken. But he goes on to say, look, it's just like an army, which this one escapes me a little bit. That seems like the one he just gave is enough for me. But he goes, it's just like an army. An army is a collection of soldiers. And if you have all these different people and they're all dressed in a certain way, I guess, and you see this group, you look at them and you go, oh, there's the American army. Is it one army? We would say yes. But who decides? Look over there. It's the American army. Our mind has taken information and come up with this idea and then laid it onto that information over there. There's American army. And then we believe that every being who's perceiving that same thing, we think it's the same thing we're perceiving, that they are perceiving the American army, right? Even if they don't have a word for it. Once I've said, there's the American army, and I pointed out to you, I believe that what you're looking at is the American army. But what if you've never seen the uniform of an American army? What if you didn't know America? Would that group of people dressed in that way be American army for you? No. There's things there. There's people there. But it's not American army. It's not American army for the dog. It's not American army for the fly. It's not even American army for the American baby, is it? So his point is, even when you have a collection of parts that are other parts versus all my parts, we're still doing the same thing. Multiple people make up a thing called an army, but the army is just an idea. There's nothing about that group of people that is American army, because if it was, every being who perceives that group of people would come up with the same idea. And then it would take a certain number of those people gathered for it to be American army. And if you had one more, it would be different. And it maybe wouldn't be American army. And we like go, no, that's ridiculous. It doesn't matter how many. Well, then if you just have one guy, is that American army? No, it's two. No, how many does it take? And who decides? Right? Our own mind. So in the same way that we take our parts and come up with my body, we take information and come up with a whole and believe the whole is a thing unto itself. He's pointing out our belief in self-existence in this broader way. He's pointing out again the fact that it's our mind making that information into American army. And then our mind that decides what to do next. That's hard. We don't really decide. It's our mind that reacts next. And just a sec. So he's using this to point out that what makes our mind come up with the idea, the identity, either my body or army, is a karmic seed ripening. Karma, it's karma. But what we mean by karma is the result of a previously imprinted mind coming to fruition as our current experience. So it's not that we stand there and choose a karma to say, oh, American Army. It feels like it's forced on us by the object, by the things. And it can't be that because our experience and our idea of American Army is unique to us, isn't it? And the way that we show that to ourselves is by comparing what we experience of a given object to what somebody else says they experience. And we come to see that we can't experience one thing the same way. I mean, even physics, we can't do it because I'm here and you're over there. So even if we're agreeing this is a red and white pen, you're seeing the back of it and I'm seeing the front of it, right? Wrong, you're seeing the front of it. To you, I'm seeing the back of it. So we can't ever see things the same way. Has to be unique to me, unique to you. Same with self. So Geshe-la says we choose to make that American Army, but we don't choose it. It's ripening out of our karmic seeds. And then we react. And what we're trying to grow is the ability to, instead of react, choose a response. And that's where Master Shantideva is trying to help us reveal to ourselves that it's beneficial to choose a different response because our reaction to things is colored by the belief that me is me and you is you, and we are these independently existing things. And as long as we do that, we're perpetuating needing to protect this and gather goodness, you know, the story. So he uses collection of parts for our body. He uses the collection of other parts to come up with a whole, the army. And then he's going to talk about you, the stream through time, which is the other exploration that we do in order to help reveal to ourselves this mistaken belief that's making me cling to my argument. I can't take care of your pain with equal concern for my pain because I don't feel it. But let's take our break. Yeah.
Lama, can I ask a question?
Okay.
In the homeworks, there is the meditation assignment, always of saying analytical meditation about the true source from where the things that make us angry really come, and the arguments against other sources. And then I am struggling a bit because I come to the punchline always, like directly, and I don't know. I think I'm missing something, but I don't know what is it. Any recommendation? You know what I mean? Like the true source of anger. I don't know if I am angry because the colleague is not doing his work, let's say he's part of the project. Then I will say, okay, the source is because I was not contributing in the past to others when I was responsible to deliver something. Is that supposed to be the task? I have the feeling it's not, but
Yeah, that that's repeating the punchline, but not quite
yeah,
getting to
exactly.
that conclusion. And so the the way I usually go is um I consider other people in the same circumstance and show myself that I'm the only one experiencing this person in that way. And so therefore, I'm bringing something to the party here and then explore whether that's something I'm doing in the moment. Can that be ripening to make that person be the jerk that makes me so angry? Or does it have to be something from earlier? And of the thing that it was, what could have imprinted my mind such that it would be coming out in this way? And is there anything else that could make my mind be coming up with this result? Could there be some other source as the cause of this result? Can it be somebody else? Can it be something else? But first, you have to pull apart the fact that that person whose characteristics, qualities are making you angry is experienced differently by different people so that it really shows yourself that it's your own reaction to them, not them, that is the is a deeper piece. And then we go looking for why I'm having that reaction at all to anybody, let alone that person. Does that help a little bit?
um, I don't know. I feel like then it's kind of the same, no? Because it's like to say, okay, I am experiencing this person like this as triggering me for X reason, and then well, I will add then is what you say. Okay, I think my colleague, the other colleague, doesn't see this person in the same way that I do. But then I jump again into the conclusion. Yeah, it's my karma. I perceive him as this because I haven't been reliable in the past. So now I am experiencing the same that the karma is coming back to me. So no, I don't know. I don't feel
Well,
like I'm getting
if
it.
that's enough for you to stop blaming the guy, and if it's not enough to stop blaming the guy, then you have to keep digging.
Well, in the moment, it's not, of course, because I am overwhelmed by the emotion.
Right.
But if
But then that's another karma. Maybe the trigger of the upset with the person, that's just it's a surface level that they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And that, for some people, it's like, who cares if they do what they are supposed to do or not? I don't know. I'd be upset, but not everybody would be. Maybe there's something deeper than that about them not doing what they're supposed to do that sets you off. And you just keep exploring those emotions and see what's underneath there. What's causing that emotion? And am I blaming it on somebody else? That's what this is about. Finding the blame factor that we all do,
yeah,
and then show ourselves that if that blame is anything other than my own similar behavior pattern, then we don't have it right yet. Not the idea is not, of course, to come down to, well, I'm just a jerk and I can't ever do anything right. It's to explore really
the real triggers.
the real trigger, which may have nothing to do really with him not performing what he's supposed to do. Maybe it's feeling disrespected that he doesn't value what you tell him, or right? Maybe you'll be able to explore more deeply and see what's the deeper trigger. And then we go looking for how is it that I'm triggering that in somebody else? How have I in the past? If so, regret, four powers. How do I still do it somewhere else? Not having to do anything with that particular person, but someplace else. Where can I do the opposite?
Yeah, okay. I feel it's either I go into the okay, in this case, I haven't been reliable in the past, or the issue with my team, right? Like it's triggering me in any given situation. If someone is asking or pointing out something I didn't do, or I didn't do on time, or I see my daughter doing something that I perceive as not what I would like her to do, it comes back always to this self-esteem issue. But I don't know if I am just making a shortcut, like I got used to give that as the reason.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if it is, I am being lazy to think, or is it really that is the thing, and I am not really tackling?
right. No, it does take some honesty to keep digging inside there and see what
Yeah,
the
okay, but
we're looking for
what
the
I was,
blame. What am I blaming? And so even when I'm blaming my own current behavior, right? I'm not saying disregard that, but try to really get the cause result understanding. Because then we'll be able to identify what can I do differently. Instead of continuing to point out your daughter's doing the not what you want her to do, make the habit to praise her when she is doing things that you're even a little bit pleased with. Praise to change your own seeds, right?
yeah, okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
Thank you, Lemma.
Okay, yeah, it's tricky. We back?
Yes, but I think the majority not. No.
There we are. So in these two examples, the body collection of parts and the army collection of other people as parts, he's pointing out that this thing that we call our body appears to be limited in its boundary, but we recognize now that it doesn't have to be limited in that way because the idea of me limited to this body is the concept, not the actual thing, right? The body is not the actual thing. So we can come up with a good reason to expand this boundary of what I call me. And as we do, our care and concern for these aspects of me that are bigger than just this one, it will be as natural to take care of pain that I see in these others as pain that I feel in my foot for my hand to go and take the sticker out. Suppose I'm one of the soldiers of the army and I'm doing this practice and I'm relating to myself as the army, then every one of those other soldiers in the army would be a part of who I would pull the sticker out of the instant I was aware there was a sticker there. And I wouldn't have to feel the sticker in my own foot. I would just have to know that there was a sticker in one of those 100 feet. And because my identity was the whole army, I would go grab it. If my identity is one soldier in the army, that's your problem. You see where he's helping us explore. So Geshe-la pointed out that our habit of limiting our boundary to our skin is artificial. It's an idea that we put on parts. And the expanding our boundary to include others is equally artificial. Right? It's not more real to say, I'm the whole army, not just one soldier. It's as equally unreal as to say, I'm just one soldier in the army. It's significant because to decide, I'm going to try to identify as this expanded boundary of me, I will more easily, effortlessly be able to care for these other parts of me with equal concern for what I used to call my only me. That growing ability to care for those, what I used to call other, plants the seeds that grow into the actual ability to help those others stop their suffering and reach happiness. And that's Buddhahood. That's omniscience. We need omniscience to be able to do that. So he says, we can choose. Leave our wrong view, limited body, or expand to consider my me bigger and behave in our world. Which would you prefer the karmic results of? The virtue results of? Which one would help us do less and less non-virtue on our own behalf? The expanded one, right? And so that expanded one is just more intelligent, karmically intelligent, than insisting on saying, no, me is limited to this, so I can't be as concerned for you as I can for me. Just making the decision doesn't change our habits, but considering making the decision, trying it in little places where we maybe can actually succeed, grows the seeds that we can then push the bar a little bit higher. Anything we do that does not bring us happiness is dysfunctional, says Geshe Michael. And technically, there's nothing we can do in this life that actually does bring us happiness. Because anything that we do that does seem to bring us happiness is a ripening result of some way that we were kind before to someone else. But we try. And that trying shifts our ability to expand ourselves, to include everybody. And he says the proof is in an army. Get it? I love it when Geshe-la says that. Get it? It's like, no, I don't get it. But I'll cook it, right, for a while, and we will get it. Me, my body, army, like that. So then there's another piece we need to understand. I have until 8 o'clock. Yeah, okay. And that's that there's another way that we define ourselves, and that's as a stream through time. And in the same way, we take these moments of me through time and we lump them all together and we come up with a me Sarani. And the me Sarani we take to be a thing that's been moving through time. But actually, it's not. It's an idea that's there and then there and then there and then there. So we think, oh, there was Sarani as a baby, Sarani as a toddler, Sarani as a elementary school kid, right? It goes on and on. Each one of these is called the parts of a Gyu stream. Gyu is stream. And so when we're considering ourselves over a stream of time, we then consider ourselves in these different points of time as the parts that get lumped together into the me. He says it's another way at looking at the boundary of me, which is a little odd. Like a part of me through time doesn't feel like it's got boundaries. But the way we come up with this identity within certain periods of time, it becomes functional for us. So for instance, a Sarani was in college from when I was 18 to, I don't know, I finally finished when I was like 25. And then in that period of time, from 18 to 25, I was in college doing my professional school in order to get a good job, so that in that period of time between when I worked and when I got old enough to not have to work anymore, I was able to care for myself, my family, and put away enough so that I could retire, right? That's like the idea. And that's the reason that this 18 to 25-year-old did what she did in order for those results in the future. And so I think of myself as, oh, that me that was in that period of time. And then there's the me that was in the next period of time, growing my career, right? Making a name for myself in my field, those kinds of things, growing my sense of success and effectiveness. And then there was the me reinvented when I gave that all up and moved to Diamond Mountain and took on a different role. At each phase, there was still this sense of, no, it's me, it's the same me. But where was it the same me? Just an idea of me, but even the idea of me is changing, isn't it? And that idea of me is only something put onto this accumulation of moments of experience. So he's just showing another way that we use our idea of me as a reason for my behavior for a future idea of me that he's already pointed out that future me hasn't happened yet. I can't really know for sure that the one I think is gonna happen's gonna happen. Like I anticipate living to be into my 90s, right? But it's like that may not happen, tomorrow may not happen. And then I think, well, the one that's gonna go on, because I do know, right, that this mind stream goes on and there'll be more me after that. I still know that I'm making the mistake that I'm holding in some subtle way to it being Sarani that goes on into another life. But I also know intellectually that that's not true. That the subject side that's this stream will be different, very different, probably doesn't even have recall of Sarani. That's how different. In the same way that I don't have recall of my immediate past life. And it's like, woo. So again, his point is, why are we so tenacious at saying my me pain is more important than somebody else's pain that I can see right now, somebody else's pain. When the future me past this life, I won't even know. This me won't even know. The karmic seeds that I make in this life color that one. But it won't even be me. Why am I protecting that one over somebody who's in pain right now? When my interaction with the one that's in pain right now is going to influence the quality of that one in the future. Wouldn't I be more concerned with the apparent other in front of me than the one in the future? All right. Then he has another example, and that is like a string, like a rosary, like a garland of rosary. These moments of me, are like the beads on a rosary. And if as you're going through your rosary, you're counting your beads, right? Some have passed and some are still to come. He said, really, this stream of me is more like the beads on a rosary. Every moment is being pulled. And we have a certain number of beads, not like it's predetermined, but we'll finally reach the last bead for this life. And the beads will keep being pulled, but the one doing the pulling will be perceived very differently. He said, in the same way that my parts make up my body, but don't really, and our bunch of people make up the army, but not really. My me in a stream that's like moments, like beads on a garland, make up my me? Not really. Because the thing that we're saying it makes up, we're thinking as an independent thing, and it's not. It's an idea. Does it exist? Yes, but only as this karmic ripening idea, changing. So if we have the idea, I'm limited to here and you're limited to there, and so we are going against each other, that's an idea. And we don't have to play along with that idea. When we get it into our heads that it's not how it has to be, they are ideas that work and function to hurt and to bring happiness. But we can redefine ourselves and others. We can redefine our boundaries. That will also be unreal. In the same way, it won't all of a sudden make a one great big me that includes everybody. That will be an idea. That functions. And then when it does, then everybody that is included in my me will be my responsibility. Okay? My opportunity to bring happiness to me, big me, all of me. Right? We're getting a glimpse of what kind of seeds can plant in our minds that could grow our four bodies of a Buddha. Okay. Geshe-la says it's just a bad habit to be selfish. And it's like, come on, none of us are selfish. But if we haven't experienced emptiness directly yet, we're still holding that a me exists independent of you. And if really pushed come to shove, and there's only one piece of bread left, it would be really hard to know whether we eat the bread, give it away, or cut it in half. None of which is ultimately right or wrong, but plant seeds in our minds. So if we can redefine ourselves, then why not redefine ourselves in a way that leads to incredible pleasure for everyone? Even the bliss, ecstasy that they talk about it is to be Buddha. Why stick with this crappy definition of me, says Geshe Michael. We have all kinds of different boundaries. Emotional boundaries, sensory boundaries, philosophical boundaries, relationship boundaries. There are all these different arenas within which we can try to expand ourselves and see what happens. But again, keep in mind that as we do draw this new boundary and do our activities towards others with this new sense of why I'm attending to someone else with this greater care and attention, recognize that the deeds we do still don't bring the reaction we experience. So Geshe-la points out we can be putting everybody within our boundary of self and trying to take care of them all, and they just tell you to go to hell. And he says, don't get offended. The only reason we could have that experience is, right, we blew somebody off before. It's not about the result we get. It's about the seed we plant. Just trying to care for others. How do we do it? Hold the door open. Smile at the guy that's frowning. Take flowers to the secretary, right? All those little polite things that we all do anyway. But now we're doing it for a whole different reason. And then we can push the envelope. Maybe I can go a little bit more out of my way on their behalf than I could before, just to see what happens. We're cultivating the ability to give up the idea of me versus them. It's so ingrained inside us, very, very difficult. But when we can recognize it, we can start to not act from it. And that's where we start to chip away at the belief in it. When we expand this boundary of me, then we're just taking care of me as easily as we used to take care of this one. That's the beauty of this practice. And Master Shantideva is saying, if we can't do that, expand our sense of me and take care of all parts of me the same, he says, then let's be consistent and quit taking care of what you call your own pain now. Because it's just as foolish to try to take care of pain that I have now by doing something in the moment. Because what we do in the moment doesn't bring what comes next. So if you're not going to try to help somebody else's pain in the moment, don't bother trying to help your pain in the moment. Do you see? Trying to help somebody else's pain in the moment will make the karmic seeds so that what we do in the moment does seem to work. Ignoring others' pain in the moment continues to perpetuate the seeds where what we try to do to ourselves in the moment doesn't work. It's logic. It's karma. So Master Shantideva's refrain is, we can learn to do anything with practice. Start small. There is no and never has been any self-existent me and self-existent other. There's only me and others out of force of habit. And we can change it. We can learn to identify with the happiness and suffering of others in the same way that we do our own. Because we and them are nothing but projections forced by karma, and we work. He goes on, I'm going to go really quickly through this. He goes on to say, look, even in terms of these bodies, we have already come to think of the blood and semen of other people as our own body. Like this thing was made of blood and semen from two other people. And now we say, this thing's me. He says, that's ridiculous. It's not me. It's them. So if you can identify with those two as me, why not with these two as me? And I don't know, it's like, no way. That's completely different. But it's not, he says. Logically, it's not at all different. So this has all been Dakshin Nyamje, me, other, exactly the same. But there's a second piece. It's Dakshin Jewa. The Nyamba is training ourselves in this great equality. Their pain, my pain, exactly the same, whether I feel theirs or not. Here it is, Dakshin Jewa. Dakshin Jewa means exchanging self for others, exchanging others for self, technically. And what it means is putting the others' needs and desires ahead of our own. So Nyampa, we made it clear, we're not putting others' needs and desires ahead of our own. We are deciding to make them as important as ours. Dakshin Jewa starts out by saying, look, you work for your own happiness, even if what you do finally brings you some happiness, it's only one being's happiness. But other beings outnumber you. Even in terms of just humans, we are 1 in 8 billion, right? What about all the humans on other worlds? And like out of all of infinity, we are one. And why is our one little puny happiness more important than 8 billion beings' happiness? And what does your mind say? There's too many. I can't. right? I can't seem to make my own happiness. How am I going to bring 8 billion beings happiness? How am I going to make all the ants happy, all the gnats happy? Come on. That's not possible. And Master Shantideva is going to say, come on, right? It is possible. Didn't you say you wanted to be Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings? And now you're saying, oh, I can't do it. It's too many. He goes, no, that's why we can do it. Because it's so many. Because when we plant our seeds on behalf of others, we plant that many. The seed is colored by that many. If I plant my seed on behalf of me, one. If I plant my seed on behalf of all you guys, how many do we have? 13? My seed is 13 worth, 20 worth, 100 worth. Do you see how it keeps going up? When we say all sentient beings, that's the power of all. It means all. It means infinite, not leaving a single one out. Because if we leave a single one out, our karmic seed isn't complete enough for omniscience and Buddha paradise, we've learned. So in the same way that we have the habit of limiting ourselves to my body made up of parts, we also limit our belief in how many beings we can help. And so this practice of dakshan, me, other, jewa, exchange for myself, is this method for overcoming our deep, deep self-cherishing. Self-cherishing means self-existent me becomes most important. Even when that most important is so subliminal, right? That we've been serving, we've been carrying. We are people helpers, we are people pleasers, but underneath there's still the me separate from other. And that me is tenaciously grasped too, and that's called self-cherishing. Self-cherishing brings more pain. Other cherishing brings an ocean of goodness. He's going to tell us when I get back to the verses. He will go on to say, when self-existent me takes care of self-existent me, like I go feed me dinner, I don't congratulate myself, right? I don't think, whoa, how special I am. I just fed me dinner. You just go do it. You're right. It's a matter of fact. He said, in the same way, when we are doing this dakshan jewa, expanding and exchanging self for others, we will again, as naturally, take care of the others that we are with at the moment with the same naturalness, not needing any kind of positive feedback or recognition. We'll just take care of them the way we've been habitually taking care of our own self-cherishing me when we're doing this exchange. We hear that bodhisattvas, they get on the bus last, they get in the end of the line, they wait until everybody's bought the ticket for the movie before they get theirs. And our mind says, yeah, that's ideal, that's great, but if I do that, right, I will never get to work. The bus is always going to be full. I won't ever get something to eat. Well, I'll be gone by the time I get there. And so our minds say, no, no way. And Master Shantideva, he says, you're in bed with the enemy when we think like that. to think that there will not ever be a space on the bus for us if we put everybody else first. Now, right, understanding how karma works, it may be the number of buses, right, go by, a number of days may go by where it does seem like we're just getting the disadvantage. But how long can it last? When we are intentionally planting these new seeds, letting everybody else have the advantage, when that shifts, it's remarkable how other things shift. And it takes time. Like when I was first learning this, I would intentionally go into the longest line at the grocery store to leave the short line for other people. And then now, 20, 25 years later, I almost never can even find a long line. And if I get in the long line, you know what happens? A new checker opens up. She looks at me and says, come. And it's like, what? It just happens. But it took time of intentionally, willingly not getting the result I was doing it for, understanding that I was planting seeds, right? Same with traffic, avoiding congested areas, not for my benefit, but to keep not adding to the congestion for other people. And it's like now, knock on wood, hardly ever are we out in a traffic jam. Now we have a life where we can avoid being out at these times and that times, but still, that's a ripening as well, right? That freedom to say, no, I can't take an appointment at that time because there's too much traffic. But then there have been times when I've been out in those times and there hasn't been too much traffic, because of years of intentionally staying out of people's way in my perception, right? Is it true? I don't know. I'm not omniscient. Is it beneficial to believe that that's true to keep me doing it? Yes. Okay. So Master Shantideva and Geshe Michael are pointing out that our habit is to be willing to do unkind deeds on behalf of our own body. And he's saying, look how foolish that is. Because it just makes the seeds to continue to have negative things happen to the body. Whereas when we refuse to do negative things on behalf of this body, we shift that pattern and negative things stop happening to this body, or the perception of things as negative stop happening, which is more accurate probably. Okay. Do we have to take care of these bodies? Yes. Nobody else is going to do it for us. But is it more important than taking care of somebody else's body? We said first, it's equally important. And now we're saying expand your sense of self to include other, and then whatever need is there gets cared for. And the perception grows into our own need is being met as we meet their need. You remember Geshe-la's functioning, eat the churro? You put the churro in the other person's mouth and it's as if you get as much happiness from them eating the churro as you do. And you don't even get the calories. Hooray. The perception shifts. Okay. Let me shift. Oh dear, I'm running out of time. I was doing so well. What happened? Get over here. You'll see these verses about the continuum, the string of things. We talked about all of that. Because if you're not going to help others' pain, don't bother helping your own. And we go, what? Are you nuts? Right. If you can't continue your argument of asking why the pains of all are something you must stop, if you're going to stop it, then you must stop all of it. If not, then mine is like other beings. Meaning, if you're not going to stop other beings' pain, then don't bother stopping one's own pain, because I'm disregarding others' pain as important. If you're going to be consistent, disregard your own pain is just as important, unimportant. If theirs is unimportant, my own is unimportant. No way, Master Shantideva. He says, yes way. If you want happiness. Here's the stuff about the bodies. You'll read it, you'll say, oh, that's what she was talking about. Come to understand that for myself, it's wrong, the self-cherishing. But for all others, an ocean of fine qualities. Cherishing others is the source of all the fine qualities I can have. That's from Lama Chupa. Cherishing myself is the cause of all the pain I can ever have. Discard completely your habit of caring for yourself and learn to take on every other being. Ow, it feels too big. When you think of your hands and such, you do consider them all a part of your body. So why then don't you consider every creature that has a body as being one of the parts of the body of all living kind? Like me being one of the army parts. Because we've gotten used to it, we're able to think it's mine of this body, which actually has no self. Why do you then say that you could never learn to think of others as me? If you got used to that, right? Grow the habit. He pointed out before that we already do it. If we have or had kids, we did it with our kids. If we have stuff that we're really attached to, we do it with our stuff. We already expand our sense of self. We can do it with more me. If you could, then you would never feel that it was strange or conceited when you worked for others. You don't expect congratulations from yourself whenever you eat your dinner. For that reason, we must get used to a state of mind where we protect all beings, and to thoughts of compassion as well, protecting them just the same way that we protect ourselves, even from the very least unkind word. I'm going to go by this one. I want to get to come back. Where do I went? Here. So in this exchanging self for others, one of our big resistances is this habit by saying, if I give what I have, what will I have for me later? He calls it a demonic thought. Zay is the word, D-Z-A. To think of others and to say, if I use this for myself, what will I give in the future? That's angel dharma. And it's just the reverse of what our self-existent me does. It's like if I give my car to the first hitchhiker that I come across, I won't have a car to get to work. I need my car to get to work. My work is my Dharma laboratory. I can't give my car up. We are instructed not to do a deed of giving that we will turn around and regret, even regret a long time later. Don't give more than we are capable of, but then also don't get complacent in our giving, right? We can keep pushing. If I use this for myself, what will I have to give others? Here, this is where I want to go. These are really, really famous. This is a really, really famous verse. I think Geshe-la's going to ask us to memorize it. The total amount of happiness that exists in the world has come from wanting to make others happy. The total amount of suffering that exists in the world has come from wanting to make myself happy. What need is there for many words? The children of the world work for their own sake. The able Buddhas do their labor for the sake of others. Come and see the difference. I love that this last verse. Come and see the difference between somebody who's doing everything for the sake of others and then the ones who are doing that are motivated still by our self-cherishing, our self-grasping, self-cherishing. The total amount of happiness that exists in the world has come from wanting to make others happy, not making others happy, because we can't. Trying, wanting. The total amount of suffering that exists in the world has come from wanting to make myself happy. Does that mean I shouldn't want to be happy? No. Self-existent me can't get happy because there's no such thing. Not self-existent me can be happy as a result of the karmic seeds planted by trying to help others be happy. If I were really living according to that, any happiness I saw in another would make me happy, right? I would be happy. I can't say it would make me happy. I would be happy seeing other beings' happiness. And maybe I wouldn't even need to feel what it is that they're feeling that's bringing them happiness. In the same way that I don't have to feel the pain in order to act to relieve the pain, my happiness would just bubble out by way of others' happiness because of how it got made. The happiness that I can see is coming out of my own seeds. So beautiful. That's the last verse that he gives. So Geshe-la says we're not to give more than we are capable of so that we don't regret. And we continually push our envelope, and that in our pushing the envelope, we are trying to evaluate what would be the greatest good for the most people, like the greatest good for everybody. From my puny perspective, what would it be? And we try to act from that sense any time we're interacting with others. Moving through our world with this sense of what do I have to contribute? How can I be helpful here? Sometimes it's things that we don't do that is the highest thing. Sometimes it's things that we can do. That's the highest thing. Will we always get it right? Probably not, if you're like me. It's the intention and effort and the recognition that if it seems to be going wrong, you back off and start over, right? And we don't have to browbeat somebody to let us help them. We make ourselves available. We do these little small kindnesses with this high level of intention. And that's what helps us grow our seeds to be able to push ourselves further in our Dakshin Nyamje. Exchange self and others exactly the same. And then pulling off this exchange. Not only are we equal in the way we want happiness and want to avoid pain, but in fact, I see that from a seed planting perspective, their pain and their happiness is more important than mine, because that's where happiness for everybody comes from. Right? It's not saying I'm unimportant, they are important. It's saying I understand that they are the field in which I plant my seeds. Not I plant my seeds in my own mind, but they're the ones I interact with to bring about this happiness for everybody. Are you one of everybody? Yes. Whose mind is getting the imprint? Ours. Ours. So the more we put the other ahead, the more we benefit. Well, then that's not putting others ahead. No, it is. Because if we say, no, I'm the most important, I'm planting my seeds for me, it's like, no, that's going to perpetuate that ignorant me that thinks it's planting seeds for me, and it's not ever going to get to that ultimate happiness that it's saying it wants. It's this beautiful spiral. It barely seems like it's going up until we get to this aha about it, and then whoa, it'll go quite quickly. The happiness that comes from trying to help others be happy is the source of all happiness, ours and others. The suffering that comes from trying to make myself happy because it comes at the expense of someone else is the source of all the suffering that we have. It's so simple, it's so clear. Every detail of our experience is a result of a karma planted. Karma's planted by what we perceive ourselves thinking, doing, saying towards others. So there's nothing we can experience. There's no result we can have that wasn't created by something that our own mind perceived its subject side doing towards the object side. And in that way, then, that we can change how we react so that we plant seeds that will bring about the experience of happiness for everybody. And that's the only place it will come from. Dakshen Yampa, me, others, exactly the same, in wanting happiness and wanting to avoid suffering. Dakshen Jewa, more radical. There's suffering in the world. I will stop theirs first. Dakshen Yamje, both of those together, is the Bodhisattva's way of life. In these accumulation of low level goodness, virtue radiation, amongst our families, our friends, our grocery stores, our workplaces, everywhere we are reacting, interacting with others is the place where we create this change. Geshe says, go into the business of working for others' happiness and enjoy yourself. That's Dakshin Nyamje. All right. Thank you for the extra 5 minutes. So remember that one that we wanted to be able to help? Can I do the dedication, Natty, first? Okay. Okay. We heard some extraordinary stuff tonight, whether it struck you that way or not, that we will use to help them stop their suffering forever someday. We really, really did. And that's extraordinary. And it's your seeds ripening, so be happy with yourself, with the seeds you've planted. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please, please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the true ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom may. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom, and may it be so. Thank you so much. You know, in the answer key that you have for this class, do they give the Tibetan in the letters that you can actually read?
They do,
As
but
in,
it's not spelled right that they do. It's spelled like how you have it. So what you have, the key has what you have.
okay,
Though
okay.
it's not exactly the same. Like you had written, I don't even know if I can get back to that again.
Some of my spelling is different.
No, no, no. Your spelling is exactly the same, but there was like one word that was different. Um, you for angel, you wrote La Chu, but
Yeah.
in the book it's just La.
Okay. Yeah, La is angel, but La Chu is like a bunch of them or something. Chu is the all existing things. So, okay, thanks. I just didn't show you the Tibetan verses for uh, all the happiness in the world has come from trying to make others happy. And those 2 verses, I just want you to be able to see them in the Tibetan. Uh, anyway, so if it's in your answer key, you'll see it.
It's in the student's notes, not the answer keys.
Oh, not the answer key?
It's in the student's notes.
Okay. Well, in case people don't look at the student notes,
They
but
should.
they should.
It's very helpful.
Here it is, these two. Jikten dewa jinye pa de kun she de dule jung. All the happiness that exists in the world has come from trying to make others happy. Jikten dunya, all the suffering. Jinye pa de kun rang de dule jung. All the suffering in the world has come from trying to make me happy. I just wanted you to see those. And then Dakshan Jewa, Dakshan Yampa becomes Dakshan Yamje. Okay. All right. Now, Natty had a question. Where's my screen share? There we go.
And thank you for teaching. So the argument that Master Shantideva says about we coming from the cells of our parents, meaning that our body extends to include the other cells, and then if we go further, our parents come from their parents, and so forth and so on. So we can conclude that it goes through to include like the whole lineage, not lineage, but the whole all the people that are
Genetic.
possibly given like the ancestrals. But I know in Buddhism, so the logic, my logic is that we are all one. But I know in Buddhism, they don't want us to say this, or they don't want us to, and there is some kind of a logic behind this. And I think it's in semantics, like what they define by oneness and what I define by oneness. They think it's not the same, it's different, but there is underlying idea that Master Santideva is saying that there is this oneness, but somehow he doesn't want to say it, probably
Well,
because
because one replies only one that includes all. And if it's all one, you can't establish that it's one without having other. So it really is logical to not come to the conclusion we are all one, because it's not possible to all be one. We are
right,
all.
but
You can say that.
we're all
All.
right. And for me, it's just another way to saying we're
I know,
one.
but when we say, but for me, it's like, be careful there, because are we clinging to something that is mistaken, that we're holding to be accurate, that's going to block us? I mean, yes, you rephrase things to try to get it right, but then you check to see if your rephrasing really gives you the implication to your own mind and heart that reveals the no self nature and the karmic ripening. If it does, use it.
And how can I recheck? This is what I'm trying to see. How can I recheck it if the wording that is used in the teachings doesn't show me like um, the the logic fails for me in these teachings because they don't lead to the fullness, and they stop somewhere abruptly, and they just have these labels they're using. It's all labels, right?
There it is, all
They're using
labels, right?
they're using this label
So
that
is
doesn't give
oneness,
me,
all a label.
yeah, that doesn't give me, and there is no proof for me to even
When
like
you when you're able to use that process of logic, you yourself continue to use it until you show yourself some truth that doesn't need any more logicking. But here's the key. We're looking for a logic that will show us something definitive. But emptiness and dependent origination shows us that there's no such thing as something definitive. And so just like when we go, when you remove the label, you go looking for the thing that gets the label, you'll never find it. All you just have, you finally go, oh my gosh, what I'm looking for is impossible. And so in the same way, we use our logic until we go, oh, it's showing me insight into this concept of the empty nature of subject-object interaction between.
It does
It is
indeed.
difficult. It's really difficult to prove to ourselves an absence and not want it to be a thing. Because if we think the absence is a thing, we've got it wrong.
Yes, and he's pointing that this is not a thing, but there is a quality or some kind of interaction, a process, which is also a label of some way and something. And
Right.
so it's just it, yeah, and
Constant verb.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
keep chewing on it. You got it. You're so close. And then we try to explain it, and it's like, right. Good. Good, good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to share. These are really extraordinary teachings Geshe-la gave us. Okay, I'm stopping recording.
Thank you, Lama.
Recording stop this way.